Happy early Monday morning. This is Julie HR, and I'm super excited to bring to you my fourth HR Education Edge weekly update. You're going to want to listen all the way to the end, as we'll be talking about the top priorities for HR professionals in 2025. I'm so excited to bring this to you for the fourth week in a row. So let's get started, everyone. Yes, I can hardly believe it. This is the fourth week I've done this, and I got up super early to ensure that everything was perfect just for you as you started the week. Hopefully you're drinking your coffee and getting ready for the day and knowing what you're going to find out this week and what I present to you will probably change your perspective on some things and also get you ahead of the game. So I'm super excited. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over last week's recap really quick. We're going to look at the upcoming compliance deadlines. You know most of them if you've been following me the past 4 weeks. We're going to have the employee engagement focus module, feature templates, and top priorities in 2025. And you're going to want to listen to this. And it's so funny that top priorities in 2025, I'd already hit on before I actually wrote the slide. So it's kind of amazing. I guess I'm almost spot on, but yeah, I guess when you've been in HR for as long as I have, you do learn a couple things. So let's get started with last week's recap, okay? Okay, so last week we reviewed compliance dates, wage posters, HR laws that were effective January 1. Y'all know that if you were here last week. Number 2, we talked about beginning of the year and doing an employment engagement survey. You need to know where you are, right? You need to know where your employees are as far as their engagement is concerned to get to where you need to be. And this previous week I created, and if you want to go on my Etsy site, you can go to my new employee survey. It has step-by-step instructions, and it also has how to grade it and also how to analyze it. So I'm giving you insight on how to analyze your data because I'm one of those people, and as you should be, knowing that data drives decisions. I also base, and if I haven't told you, a lot of my work on, obviously my experience, but also what the latest and newest and most recent surveys have out. So I do the research so you don't have to. So I can bring it to you so you can be the best HR professional you can be. Okay, also, and we also talked about the employee survey and employee net promoter score. Now it's up to you if you want to dive into the employee net promoter score, but I would encourage you to take a look at my employee survey. Okay, we also reviewed the employee bulletin board communications and postings. I know an employee bulletin board may not seem like all that to maybe some people, but it does enhance your employee culture, whether it's virtual or it's on site. Culture is key. Keep that in mind. There's this great quote, and I forgot who said it, and I probably should know, but culture eats strategy for lunch. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind that as an HR professional, culture should be on your agenda. We also looked at 2 key templates. The manager one-on-one meeting. It is my top seller on my Etsy store. And also the total compensation statement, which is key for you to provide to your employees to show them what their actual hidden paycheck is. They may be making $55,000 a year, but guess what? With all the benefits, they're making $80,000. So that was another template that I went over last week, and it's also in my also in my Etsy store. We also discuss suggestion boxes. There's a template here. And also recognizing employee stars. And also here's the biweekly 2025 payroll calendar. If you need help with any of the dates, it's in all formats. I'm happy to help. Last week, we also discussed AI in the workplace as it pertains to HR with a focus on recruiting. This week, we're going to veer off of this AI module as I've got some other things that are in store for you don't want to miss. Okay, upcoming compliance deadlines. And if you have the HR calendar of key events that I have on my Etsy store, we are down to the 15th deadline for Q4 estimated tax payments for the prior year. Okay, we have on the 20th, which is next Monday. So I want you to go ahead and start. Well, before I jump into Martin Luther King Day, let's back it back up. We've been talking about upcoming changes to the H-1B visa program effective January 17th. There's a modernization of the program with a clear definition of specialty occupation along with a new form. So, however, please note that some congressional changes could take place with the new administration coming in on the 20th that could change this. But as of now, effective January 17th, this is a change you need to know about. Okay, upcoming national holidays, Martin Luther King Day, which is also, it's Monday, next Monday. So I want you guys this week to go ahead and get ahead of that. Go ahead and ensure that your employees know it's a federal holiday next Monday. Make sure everybody's planning for it. Communicate holiday schedules. You may be a manufacturing plant that has, different shifts and whatnot, and you actually implement holiday pay. There's a lot that goes into actually having a holiday. So please, maybe tomorrow, jump on the gun and send an email out to go ahead and remind your managers, hey guys, listen, plan accordingly. Next week is a 4-week work week. It's a national holiday. So I'm going to let you run with that. We'll look at the W-2 and 1099s on the 31st, but for now, let's just concentrate on getting through January 20th, which is also Inauguration Day. So it's a great day to have off to observe things, and you also may want to mention that in an email too. Okay, I'm always going to have an employee engagement focus, as that is what is key in this day and age. I've had a lot of time to, actually I don't have a lot of time, but I always make it a priority to dig deep into surveys, whether it be from Paycor, Gallup, maybe a Harvard Business Review salary or write-up or paper, and bring it to you. So one of the surveys, and a lot of my material ties into surveys, and a lot of it ties in, as mentioned, to actually my work experience. Recent surveys show that onboarding was less than 1 month for 72% of employers and 50% less than 1 week. Why would that be concerning? Well, number one, it does not put your organization or an organization on the right footing for a strong culture. It is hard to build a strong culture when you have an onboarding program that is less than 1 month and less than 1 week. Therefore, I wanted to kind of take it back probably about a year. This was one of my first onboarding templates on my Etsy store. And it's a visual. I know a lot of people aren't always they like to see things that are visual. And I made an onboarding roadmap, 30, 60, 90 plus. Notice the plus. I personally think that onboarding should go for an entire year. You want to keep that employee, and that employee is deciding whether he or she is going to stay within those first 90 days. So on this onboarding roadmap, I wish I could zoom into it a little bit more. Let me see if I can. I'm going to back out just a second because I really want you guys to look at this. Okay. To give you a visual, okay, onboarding does not start day one. There is a pre-boarding. There is where the new hire is welcome. There's a video, new hire paperwork, IT department is made known of the new employee, emails are set up. There's a lot that goes into a new employee being brought on. Just because you hired a new employee doesn't mean, okay, this person is our new employee, yay. You cannot lose that touch or that engagement. Just because you hired somebody doesn't mean you can slack off in, any of your positions or whatnot. This is the time to really shine. You should be proud of yourself. You have a new hire coming on board. Okay? So make sure that you hit the ground running with pre-boarding as soon as the employee turns in their offer letter or gives you a verbal and whatnot. In this visual onboarding roadmap, I've broken it down into orientation employee. Yes, that first week, I believe that the orientation should take place. Then there's a ramp up at 30 days, collaboration 60, give the employee a little bit of independence on day 90, and then 90 plus, that employee, just for an example, they might be leading departmental monthly meetings. They're setting yearly goals and setting forth, maybe their annual strategy or their goals. And they become a very active participant in culture building. And now this is at the 90 plus day. As I mentioned, active participant in company culture building. How is an employee going to help with the culture if their if their onboarding is less than a month? And that's what surveys are saying. And this is a great template. It talks about, day one. It's not necessarily what you have to do, but it's great guideline. Days 2 through 5, you got your fire safety training, mentor luncheon, company culture series, and your supervisor is going to play a key role. Managers are going to play a key role in onboarding. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm actually going to go back to the PowerPoint. Hopefully it'll pick up on the last slide, but if not, we'll just click through really quick. Okay, and back to engagement. Very good. January the 24th, National Compliment Day. I would already start pre-planning and communicating with your employees. It's National Compliment Day on January the 24th, as you can see up here. Perhaps plan something where you put something out where, hey guys, I challenge maybe managers and employees to, compliment an employee and their work ethic that they have not done in the past. Really show your appreciation, especially managers, during this National Compliment Day. It will definitely enhance your engagement. And right here you can see just my January engagement calendar, and with each individual month I have a theme, and then I have items that speak to the company's culture and growing that culture and making it a strong culture. And that is my mission with this engagement calendar. Excuse me. Moving right along, as I was reading through some surveys and stuff, there was a Paycor survey done, and it says, what type of employees are most engaged? What would you think? Hybrid, on-site, or remote? Well, the survey said actually hybrid, where the employee is working part of the time in the office, but then has that flexibility to work off-site. The second most engaged employees were actually on-site, and the least engaged employees were remote. And as we get closer to 2030, more and more jobs are going to be remote. As an HR professional, it is imperative that you take on a visionary type role to help the organization. If you know that some of your employees are going to be remote 6 years down the line, and they're already remote now, and they're not engaged, they're the least engaged group of employees at this point, this is the time to ensure that some training goes out regarding managers managing remote employees. And just so you know, I happen to create a remote booklet for managers, a manager training booklet, one of my 25 manager training booklets this week. So you can go on my Etsy site and see it, and we'll look at it next week. Okay, looking at D, effective leadership, going back to employee engagement again, effective leadership drives employee engagement, and that gets results. Companies with a high level of employee engagement are more profitable by a factor of 21%, and that's a Gallup poll. How can effective leadership be achieved? Well, on my Etsy site, I've created a leadership Excel document that lists out a number of skills that have been researched that lend themselves to being an effective leader, to include emotional intelligence, strategic thinking. You can take a look at that. Okay. We didn't discuss this, but new hire packet, and I would just say that it goes back up to this one right here where it's talking about employee onboarding. The new hire packet is probably the first thing, one of the first things that needs to go out upon hiring a new hire, whether it's via email or, or actually, online via maybe a portal. This also includes my first week onboarding schedule. It also includes this onboarding roadmap. So this entire packet is pretty much set up for pre-boarding, and it also tells the employee about their first day, what to expect, who they're going to meet, where should they go, where should they park, how should they dress. It takes a lot of anxiety away from the first day. So it is great for this new hire packet to be incorporated into your onboarding program. Okay. Featured templates. And I know I'm moving through this rather fast, but I'm really super excited to tell you about the top priorities of 2025. If you haven't already implemented a mentorship program, now would be a key time. You as an HR professional, you have a lot on your plate. If you rolled out a mentorship program, this would allow you to pair up a mentor, a seasoned mentor, and also perhaps a up-and-coming, maybe Gen Z worker or something along those lines. And it's a very valuable step by step. There's an application, confidentiality agreement, mentoring agreement. It's very well thought out. And one similar to this has been rolled out in a lot of colleges, organizations, and a lot of nonprofits. So I just took it upon myself to create my own and just pull the best ideas from a lot of different sources. And that's what I do with all of my templates. I just don't take it from one. I take it from as many smart people and resources that I can get my hands on. And, we talk about managers. And this is one thing when we go over some of the top 5 priorities of HR departments is we as HR professionals must find ways to give managers more of their day back. We've got to provide them with tools. I know we as HR professionals want to get more of our day back, right? It's hard. There's a lot of, especially in small HR organizations, it's very transactional and less strategic. We want to get to strategic. But I tell you what, if we help our managers, and I know this firsthand, get more of their day back, you'll get more of your day back. And this featured template, my manager toolkit bundle, it goes, you'll see right here, there's the manager one-on-one meeting. Here is the agenda they can use. Here are the top laws that managers should know. Here's a performance review checklist. Maybe a particular manager has problems scheduling their day. And then there's a couple of workbooks in here, such as leadership coaching and also conflict resolution. I think there's 2 other fantastic booklets that I've created, which have a lot of lessons in there that will assist you in getting your managers more of their day back. So their managers can concentrate on the bigger things, and also coaching their employees and giving their employees that confidence in their job. And in turn, you helping the managers, which also helps the organization and the executives as a whole, is very, very important. Okay, moving right along. Okay, so top priorities of HR 2025. And I got this from a Forbes article, and I did some research on this. And this is something that you could actually use if you needed to go to your, executive leadership team and say, hey, this is what's out there. And here is the survey, here's the backup or whatnot. But I got this from a Forbes article. It was dated on January the 10th. And it's so funny that I did the first part of this this weekly update before that, and then I got this actual article and I read through it, and I was so surprised, as mentioned, that it really has a lot of stuff that you are going to be able to take and run with this upcoming year. So some key insights, and I'm so glad you're waiting till the end. Key insights from the Gartner survey. Connection as a priority. According to a Gartner survey, HR leaders, and that is you are a visionary, you're a leader, you are strategic. You've got to think of yourself that way. Even though you may be under 10 piles of paper, we will get you out. Trust me, I will help you. And it's not going to be buying a $10,000 new HRIS system. I actually have templates that will help you for under $20. So, okay, well, back to this. HR leaders emphasize the importance of creating a culture of connection. I like that. Culture of connection. So that is one of the things that the survey said. And what is culture? It's shared stories and agreed upon principles. And if you go back to my engagement calendar, we talk a lot about, in January, it starts out with a theme, and then it goes into culture, and it speaks to the, what is your organization? What are their core values? List them out. So take the time to look at my employee engagement calendar. So culture equals shared stories and agreed upon principles. This combination fosters collaboration and high performance. Okay, another statistic, 76% of U.S. employees link workplace culture directly to personal productivity. So as HR professionals, we shouldn't be, I know a lot of them are like, oh goodness, AI is going to take my job. AI right now is something I'm going to put to the side. Maybe I'll talk about it next week. But know that your job as an HR professional is to work on your culture, because you know what? It actually affects personal productivity. Connection and engagement. Okay, surprise, surprise. I talk about this all the time. Challenges for managers. The survey said 75% of HR leaders report that managers feel overwhelmed by their expanding responsibilities. I know that's July, but this survey actually just came out the other day, but this was incorporated into it. And I can tell you now that managers are still feeling overwhelmed. And it was ironic that I put that manager template up for you to see, that manager template bundle up for you to see, because I want you to get your managers to not be overwhelmed. Okay. Also, and it doesn't say in here, but the C-suite, like the executives, they see HR as leaders who are the ones who can help managers the most and should help managers the most in their jobs and managing how they deal with their time. Okay, 69% say managers are unequipped to lead organizational change. Okay, well, that's got to change. Employee engagement data. As mentioned, employee engagement is about personal connection, not technical solutions like Slack or Zoho or just whatever you're using. It's about personal connections. And that's why I put AI to the side this week. AI, yes, it can assist with tasks. It's very, very helpful. But you know what? It can't replace the human connection that drives culture. People need people, and people need HR professionals like you. There's also, and I know many of my people that I interact with on a daily basis have brought this to my attention, and I see this when I go and actually do my consulting. There is a generational shift, okay? Gen Z now makes up 20% of the U.S. labor force, surpassing baby boomers. By 2025, 1 in 10 managers is going to be a Gen Z. But you know what? Gaps in training may hinder their effectiveness. And I don't know if I put it on the next slide, but with these Gen Z managers, I would encourage, and the best results I've seen, is mentoring. Mentoring really helps. If you see a Gen Z manager, hook them up with a mentor who's been in their shoes, who's maybe been there, for, 10, 20 years or whatnot, who can help them, who can show them. And not only is it going to be benefiting that Gen Z employee, but it's also going to benefit that more seasoned employee. Training issues. 75% of organizations updated leadership development programs, but results remain lacking. So you know what? Your organization may have an updated leadership development program. Actually, if you don't, I would encourage you to plan out one. Actually have a 2025 annual training planner. Start planning out leadership development programs. And also look at that spreadsheet that I mentioned that I created last week. HR leaders need an experimentation mindset to refine tools and training that reduce managerial pressures. So those are some of the top priorities. Okay, moving right along. Oh, there we go. There's my mentorship program toolkit. This will take a lot of anxiety off of your managers if they're in a particular, if they're in a particular, I would say, position that they could use a mentor. Okay. Focus on Gen Z, connection versus disengagement, role of AI. Okay. While AI, as mentioned, facilitates workflows, it also risks fostering isolation. And as mentioned earlier, remember we talked about those employees who were least engaged? Those are the ones who are working remotely. I'll read it again. While AI facilitates workflows, it risks fostering isolation if not balanced with human interaction. Human interaction has got to be there. And kind of like with onboarding, you go through, let's just say an employee goes through the hiring process. I mean, it might be very, the recruiter is talking to the employee on a regular basis, but then drops the ball on onboarding, pre-boarding. There's that human interaction is not there. There's no back and forth. So let's keep that in mind. Importance of coaching. I also have a HR booklet, coaching for managers. There's also employee coaching. I've got couple coaching booklets that are really would be very, very helpful for you to take a look at. Coaching connects individual performance with organizational goals, driving self-leadership and engagement. You got to understand, not all employees have a drive to, lead themselves. But if you get them to a particular point through coaching, they will actually drive their own self-leadership and engagement. You've just got to get them there. So you might want to, as mentioned, that's why I lean on the mentorship program toolkit. Or a manager, maybe the employee's manager could be that coach, and that there's a coaching booklet that would help them. But there's got to be organizational goals. They've got to be done every year. There needs to be an individual development program for the employee. There needs to be a coach for the employee. There's got to be that human interaction. Okay, importance of coaching. The second bullet under here. Emotional intelligence and well-being are increasingly emphasized, as noted by Glassdoor economist Daniel Zaho. So emotional intelligence, which is also mentioned in my Leadership for Managers booklet, and also it's mentioned in my spreadsheet, they are emphasized. So that needs to be an important part of coaching. Emotional intelligence is something that some people are born with, and there's actually tests that can tell you, what type of emotional intelligence you have, but it can be developed. It can be developed within you. Okay? Statistics and polls. Employee culture and productivity. 76% of employees see a clear link between culture and productivity. That is a no-brainer. Culture. And then more statistics, manager overload, and we mentioned this, and I put it up here again. 75% of HR leaders noted managers are overwhelmed. So it's not just you thinking that and me knowing that. It's tens of thousands of organizations across the board. 69% of HR leaders believe managers are unprepared, and we mentioned that on the last slide, but I wanted to pull out those statistics and polls. So what are you going to do? Prioritize connection. You want to build a culture where employees feel valued and engaged beyond apps and tools. Rethink training. As mentioned, it said in the previous slide that managers had a leadership development program that they created. We may want to think it, we may want to tweak it. Focus on emotional intelligence, resilience, and motivation rather than solely process-oriented training, okay? So you may want to rethink this. And don't be afraid to share this with your executive team. This comes from a Forbes article, which is supported by many surveys. Invest in coaching. Help managers and employees develop self-leadership to navigate the complexities of 2025. So, as mentioned, there's mentorship and there's also coaching. And as an HR professional, we have a mandate to serve as visionaries. We need to understand what the data drives decisions. You can't argue with it. You also need to be forward thinking. I know it's hard to do everything that you do on a regular basis, but you're going to have to get more strategic, and you're going to have to, as I mentioned time and time again, managers can make your lives so much easier. So providing them with the tools and resources to give them their day back is in turn going to help them make better hiring decisions, do better performance reviews, also discipline a lot better. They're going to inspire the way you inspire them. They're going to inspire their employees. And I encourage you to actually do, and this was one fun thing that I did, was actually when it was like a group of managers and I went over a particular lesson, actually had them practice with the other manager in how to go out and how to do particular lessons, like how to interview, like how to interview. What are you interviewing for? You're interviewing for culture. And a lot of my booklets speak to that. So prioritize connection, rethink training, invest in coaching. I think for now, this right here, unless something comes up, will prepare you for the next week. I want you to get into the culture mindset, into the engagement mindset, to the manager mindset, to the getting onboarding correct mindset. That onboarding, it needs to be over 100 days, and it includes pre-boarding, orientation, 30, 60, 90, and before. It's just, onboarding is not just a 1 week thing, and it's not orientation. Those things are totally different. So with that being said, I'm super excited to bring you this 4th week of my HR Education Edge weekly news update. And I hope to keep you compliant, bring you the latest and greatest, so you don't have to go looking for surveys or looking at surveys, looking at data, wondering, okay, am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing? You're doing the right thing. And I'm here for you. I'm here to help you. And I will do everything in my power to assist you. Reach out to me, to make you the best HR manager that you can be. I know a lot, and I know within the survey, in a couple of the surveys, it said that a lot of HR individuals have only been in their role for 2 years. I could not even imagine what you have on your plate, but please know that I am here to help and I can help guide you. Okay, moving right along. Isn't that cute? Okay, so number one, make sure that you, on this particular YouTube channel and this video, make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, so you'll get this every week, okay? You can become my Instagram friend, jump on that. Please visit my Etsy shop. I've mentioned a number of templates, and my goal is not for you to go out and buy things. I do want you to buy things, most definitely, but I want you to be successful in your position, and I want to be able to help you. I also have a website. It's just kind of generic, but you can go to my website also. So be sure to subscribe. I'm so excited. I thank you for your feedback. And I know we're just getting started with this, weekly update. I hope to do a podcast. I've got a lot of big plans for this year, but I've got a lot of big projects on my plate. So I thank you. I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much.